Hey gamers, we're finally entering summer, which usually means a lot of announcements and might not be as many releases in the gaming industry. But surprisingly, this June we have quite a lot going on. Before talking about game releases, let's take a look at three major things that will happen this month. First and the biggest of the months is the launch of Nintendo Switch 2. The new console launches are rare events and always exciting ones. Switch 2 is the next generation of Nintendo's hugely successful console. Although many people predict it'll have a hard time beating its predecessor, we still can expect a lot of great and fun games on it. It is launching on June 5th in most of the regions in the world, and by the way, let me know in the comments if you already pre-ordered Switch 2, still thinking about it, or planning to completely skip this one. Second, Geoff Keighley and the team are back with Summer Game Fest 2025. This event is the closest thing we have to the great former E3 conference, and we might see some announcements and get a glimpse of what is next for the industry. Summer Game Fest is going live on June 6th. Then finally, we have the Xbox Games Showcase on June 8th, where we'll see Xbox Studios games announcements and learn how many more great games are coming to Game Pass. So as you can see, the first week of June will be quite hot. I'll be covering both Summer Game Fest and Xbox Games Showcase on this channel, but also live on my social media, so don't forget to follow me there. But let's get to the game releases. First, on June 5th, we have a bunch of games coming to Nintendo Switch 2 with the launch of the console. But the biggest is probably a new Mario Kart entry, Mario Kart World. This time, the series is moving towards a different approach with an open world. That's the main reason why it's not called Mario Kart 9. The new game should take advantage of the new power Switch 2 and have a seamless open world for racing instead of separated tracks as before. Also, the game now supports 24 players on a course instead of 12, but most importantly, the game should retain its fun, but with everything bigger and just more beautiful. On the same day, June 5th, the rare beast of the modern gaming, a new MMO is releasing, and it's Dune Awakening. The Dune series is in a golden era right now after Denis Villeneuve's movies, so it was appropriate to expect a game release. After all, it was one of the first licensed franchises with a successful classic game. The new MMO is made by one of the most experienced studios in this genre, Funcom. The game is set in a completely alternative timeline from books and movies, so there are no major character appearances. The game is a survival MMO, so it might be similar to previous game of the studio Conan Exiles. There will be a lot of crafting using technological tools, vehicles, combat cooperation, and sandworm encounters on the dangerous surface of Arrakis. Next, we have MindsEye releasing on June 10th. It's a completely new futuristic IP. The game is a third-person single-player action-adventure focused on narrative and story. It's pretty much linear game, but it has a fake open world similar to what we have seen in the remaster of the first Mafia. The setting is somewhat cyberpunk-styled with implants and corporations. The game was actually made as a proof of concept for a game creation tool for the MMO that studio is working on, so I'm not sure what to make of it. On June 13th, we got a very interesting project, The Altars, from the studio behind The War of Mine and Frostpunk. The game seems to be more similar to the former, as we expect to build and improve a base and do a lot of surviving. The cool part is that the main character can create alternative clones of himself, but with various personalities and life choices, who all branch out from the main character using a special tree system. If you like survival and base building games, this one might be a lot of fun to play. Next is a comedy dating game, Date Everything, launching on June 17th. This is a game that makes you go, wait, what? Game is exactly what the title suggests. It's a sandbox dating simulator where you can date, well, everything. That's something to consider if you just want to take a break and have some weird and fun hours. The game also has a surprisingly good and colorful drawing style, reminding me of Hi-Fi Rush a little bit. Then also on June 17, we have a very interesting project, FBC Firebreak. This game is from the incredible studio of Radio Entertainment, creators of Max Payne, Alan Wake. This is a multiplayer version of another of their successful games, Control. Interestingly, it's a first multiplayer game for the studio, and they market it as a respectful to players kind of game that doesn't use FOMO or other annoying tactics common in multiplayer games. The game is actually quite far from Control, apart from the universe, because it feels and looks much more dynamic and cheerful and will be played more like a Left 4 Dead if anything. I'm still very curious about the project because, well, it's a Remedy game. The third and final game launching on June 17th is Tron Catalyst. This is an isometric action adventure within the famous neo-noir science fiction universe of Tron. Unfortunately, it doesn't really get good games or movies recently, and the game description actually sounds pretty good. It's a narrative-driven, has a cool world, time loops, life cycles, and a nice art style. Definitely an interesting project to keep an eye on, especially if you're a fan of the universe. On June 19th, we have the release of Rematch, which is an online soccer simulator, or rather football simulator, as we call it here in Europe. I know it immediately sounds like another EA game, but this one is actually pretty cool. It's from the developers of Sifu, which was a stylish kung fu beat-em up, and Rematch is kinda similar in style and a bit in gameplay too. It doesn't try to be a realistic football sim, but more focuses on fun gameplay. The game also feels much more Rocket League than FIFA or whatever it's called now. Even the setup is similar, as you play in 3v3, 4v4 and 5v5 modes. If you have a few friends to play with online, it's definitely worth a try. The only worry for now is a report of performance of the game and online servers, but hopefully it will be fixed by launch. Now we get to the big one. June 26th is the launch date of one of my personal most anticipated games of the year, that's Stranding 2 on the beach. The game is a direct sequel to the first game of industry genius Hideo Kojima and continues the adventures of Sam Porter Bridges, this time moving the setting from the post-apocalyptic US to Australia and Mexico, which sounds amazing. This game is hard to describe. Theoretically, it's a third-person adventure game, but many people just call it a walking simulator. I think the game is so much more. It's deep, the story is interesting, the gameplay is slow-paced but super satisfying. It promises to be huge, vastly increasing its open world compared to the first game. We should also expect more enchanted combat and just more combat in general, dynamic weather conditions, more building opportunities, but still focused on cargo delivery. I can't wait to play it and certainly will be talking about the game on the channel and my social media, so don't forget to subscribe. Lastly, we got a new Persona game, and not a new entry but another spin-off to Persona 5 called Persona 5 The Phantom X. The game is launching on June 26 and it seems it's a bit more focused on mobile audience, although it's launching on PC too. We can expect similar but much more simplified gameplay to Persona 5 with gacha game elements with different characters but in the same world, kind of like alternative universe or timeline. The game can scratch some itch for loyal Persona fans, but I wouldn't expect it to be a replacement. That's all the games I have for you today. Let me know what are you planning to play in the comments below. Don't forget to log your games on searchtoplay.com, a social tracking platform for gamers. Keep playing, take care, and I'll see you soon.